folks, welcome in. Seven Rivers Racing here in KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losi as we are in the waning weeks of the race program. We've got 3 left. A couple of guests going to be coming up next weekend's show, and then the last show of October is going to be an October video menagerie of all kinds of KQEG TV footage of Oktoberfest races, of course. We would be remiss without throwing in that Dan Young flip across the front straightaway wall over the winner's circle into the dirt area of the racetrack. I think that was probably one of the most
flamboyant
and electric crashes we saw at the Speedway, though that's not what we're going to be hinging on. Right. But we're going to be showing you the best of the best here at the end of the month. A lot is going on here as we are at the end of the race season for La Crosse and Rockford and the Dells and Fountain City. And it's kind of been a touchy subject here since the Oktoberfest races have concluded. And it's surrounding around whether Johnny Sauter, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver who entered in the Oktoberfest 100 with the ASA this year, whether he actually got the win or not. Right. And to talk some more about that and some other things in the program, we also brought a special guest on the program today, Brent Kirchner. He drives the City Auto Sales number 8 Quick Trip NASCAR late model. Brent, how are you?
Good.
We're going to break some things down here. Press releases are going out left and right pertaining to this Oktoberfest 100 lap feature race that Johnny Sauter went out and won, and he took the win away from his nephew, Travis Sauter. And if you look at last week, obviously there were some people right off the bat thinking, okay, he led this thing so fast and by so much that obviously there were some things different in that car. And the ASA had put out a press release this week that during the post-race inspections, because of some non-approved parts in the bottom end and to do with the body, that Sauter's car was disqualified. And according to the ASA Midwest Tour Series, unfortunately, there were some things that had to be changed compared to their rules, and it's now found themselves in kind of a different situation because they're saying one thing on who the winner was, but the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway is saying the other thing. And I've talked to a lot of drivers in the past week or so about this situation here, on how both sides are standing firm on who their winner is, and it's been a while since I've seen something like this come out. And you hate to see something like this come out of such a prestigious event.
You're exactly right with everything that you said, but what I really like is that both the ASA Midwest Tour and the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway staff, they've taken a very long look at it, and each one of them have made decisions based on the logic of their situation.
Well, one of the situations is parts in question with Johnny Sauter's car. And they were the same weight and configuration of the short track engine that's ran, but they were not approved for competition with the ASA Midwest Tour. Understand that this was a used motor that was bought and raced. And one of the reasons we bring Brent Kirchner in, so many years of racing experiences he has, there's a couple of different areas we're going to approach the show at today. We thought we would bring Brent in to talk more about that. First off, Brent, when you enter a big race like the Sauters did for Oktoberfest 100, is it wise to buy a used motor? Can you buy a new motor? Do you want to buy a new motor for just one race?
You could buy a new motor, but I mean, when you buy a new motor, the expense is there. So maybe you resort to a used engine, and when you do that, you don't always know what's inside there. So you're taking a little bit of a gamble there, but you know, they probably had a pretty good idea of what was inside that motor, but you know, the chances are maybe not, but you know, regardless, it didn't fit the rules, and they came to that decision.
They had stated that, according to Mike Lemke, the ASA MT tech director, that they believe in good faith the things that were changed were to be in accordance with the ASA rules. So they thought they were abiding by what they had to.
They weren't illegal parts. Let's put that.
No,
put
they
it out
were.
there, right?
And again, it says they were the same weight and they were the same configuration.
Right.
They just were not approved for the ASA Midwest Tour. And then it was even some ABC body specifications that were not approved as well. Now, the concern here is Tim Olson and Steve Heinhaus, the directors of the series, said that Sauter will be docked a loss of points and fined a to-be-determined amount for the above infractions, but they're still giving him the race win.
Right.
A couple of days later, Greg McCarnes the president of Midwest Motorsports Management that has the lease on the track at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, said that they're glad that the ASA came out and said what they had, but they feel that the decision and procedures of the tour, they don't recognize a team that does not fit within the boundaries of the rules and giving them such a win. So now the La Crosse Speedway, or Motorsports Management, is saying they're giving Travis Sauter the win.
Right, and part of it has to do with the ASA Midwest Tour. They're the sanctioning body for that. They're the ones in charge of points and how they want to deal with their competitors. The La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway isn't the sanctioning body. They're the body who's holding the event. They're the ones who gets to say, this is the record for the qualifying speed, this is the team that won the race, and they can put in there who they deem the winner. And the sanctioning body can do that as well.
So the ASA is saying Johnny Sauter's the winner. Speedway promoter Greg McCarnes is saying that Travis Sauter, who was the runner-up, is the winner. And now Facebook has really made this thing, go a little bit further than I think both sides would like to have seen it happen. But then again, you go back to rules are rules. And Brent, you've raced, for so many years and so many classes at so many different tracks. Have you seen this kind of a scenario happen where maybe it's just not a big race, but it's just a race period? You're rushing to get things together, and there are some oversights?
I haven't really seen it in the past, but I can tell you from experience that that's not what won him the race. Those engine parts that were in there, even though they weren't quite what they were looking for, is not what won him the race. I mean, they won it on setup. Brought a brand new car there. They were fast. Had a few problems in tech, but overall, I think their setup is what won them the race.
Their suspension setup.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the race. I mean, he was pretty much flawless all day long. So I mean, it isn't the engine that won him that.
All righty, Brent Kirchner, City Auto Sales number 8, Quick Trip NASCAR Early Medal, joining us in the program. We're going to get his views on a couple of different topics we're going to talk about on the show today. When we come back, the ASA again has another press release coming out determining who they think the winner is. And I had a conversation with Chuck Deary at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, and interesting who he says the winner is. We're going to give you that on the second segment. Coming up next, Dan Diker and Al Losey along with Brent Kirchner. This is Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.